into some fun type mathematical stuff here. Square roots, which means this. You see square roots when you see this. This, by the way, is not, I repeat, it is not division. N-O-T, not division. This is not a division sign. Anybody know what this little sign is called? It's one that looks like a heartbeat monitor with all these little crooked V's in it. That bad boy is called the, Connor again.
Square root?
Nope. It's called the radical sign. And it's absolutely radical. This number here, you'll never guess, but it's called the radicand. And a lot of times there's a number up here, but when there's no number up here, it is a square root. And a square root is really the opposite of squaring something. And the question you have to ask yourself, the answer to this is, what number times itself gives you the radicand? What number times itself gives you the radicand? And basically you're saying this, okay, what same number times itself will give me 16? It's not a division problem. It's not 8 or 2 or any of those things there. What number times itself, Lauren? 4. So the square root of 16 is 4. Okay. They tried to get you to see that a little bit with that problem that Brian asked about today, where the square, a room squared, or how many square tiles were in the room? There were 100 square tiles. Well, to find this, and this, since it's a square, you're finding the square root of 100 because that's the number times itself. What number times itself gives you 100, and that's where these 10s come from. It's like you're thinking about a square. If a square had an area of, I don't know, 4 inches squared, what would each side be? Well, that would be the square root of 4, which is, what is the square root of 4? What number times itself gives you 4, Zachary?
2.
Yeah, each side would have to be 2. And by the way, there are only certain ones that work out, people. Take a look, see this. Please know this. Is there a square root of 1? Is there some number times itself that gives you 1, Lauren? Please say yes, 1 times 1. Is there the square root of 2? Is there some number that gives you 2 when multiplied by itself? Lauren, you taking a shot in the dark on this one? Okay, the answer to this, just so you know, so you have this in your mind. Okay, if you put this into a calculator, you will get some decimal number that never, ever, ever, ever stops. In fact, I'll do it just because you don't know if you believe me. Oh, no. If I take and I put 2 and the square root of, and the square root of, uh-oh. I think I did it twice, sorry, I gotta clear this. 2 square root of. Okay, it gives you, the calculator gives you this and you say, well, it stops there. It only stops there because that calculator is only allowed to go that many digits. It's 1.414. It's close to 1.414. Later on in math, any square roots that don't work out nicely, the square root of 2, the square root of 3, the square root of 4 does work out nicely, it's 2. Any square root number that doesn't work out, we call this, we call it irrational. Is it good if your parents call you irrational? No, it means they don't understand you. You don't make sense. You're not rational. Well, that's the same thing with these. Square roots that don't work out are decimals that never end, which is something we can't really understand because we don't understand things that don't end. Pi is an example of it. If you look at that number there. At the end of all those digits here, you see those three little dots at the end? Those little dots mean pi goes on forever. People have done it out to hundreds and thousands of places and it never actually works out. It is irrational. So the ones that do work out, you should be able to tell me. The square root of 4 we said works out, right? What's the next one that works out? Chase?
6.
Nope, square root of 6 doesn't work out. Square root of 9 does. 3 times 3 is 9. The square root of 16 works out because that's 4, right? What's the next one that works out? Aaron? 25, did you say? And then the next one that works out is? Grace?
36.
Square root of 36. Now, so that means this, people, there are a whole bunch more irrational ones than there are rational ones. So the square root of 5, the square root of 6, the square root of 7, and the square root of 8 don't work out. They're irrational. The square root of 10, the square root of 11, the square root of 12, the square root of 13, the square root of 14, the square root of 15, those don't work out. They're irrational. The square root of 17, the square root of 18, the square root of 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 don't work out. They're no good for us. We don't deal well with them. Okay, they're irrational. But these are what are called the perfect squares. They do work out nicely. How about the square root of 400? Is there a square root of 400? Which is? What's that?
200.
Because 200 times 200 is actually 40,000. Lauren?
20.
It's 20 times 20, yeah. 20 times 20. You have to be careful. And there's no easy way to find square roots other than really calculators. It's not like division. You can't sit there with a thing and kind of work it out.